When I tell you about Ethan, the laziest boy in the village, you might think no one could ever change him. But within just a few days, Ethan did the unthinkable. From a lazy slacker, he became the champion, defeating even the strongest in the land. How did he do it? Why did he change? Step with me into his story, where laziness isn't an excuse, but a challenge that tests one's true strength. In a small village nestled among terraced fields, Ethan lived with his parents in a humble wooden house at the edge of town. Everyone knew he was a kind boy, but also famously lazy. Each morning before the sun rose high, Ethan's father went to the fields to sow seeds and called Ethan to help. But instead of joining the others, Ethan chose to lie in his hammock. Going back and forth through the muddy field to chase away birds? Too much effort. So Ethan got creative. He set up tall poles around the field, tied ropes between them, and hung colorful pieces of cloth to flutter in the wind, creating the illusion of movement and shadows. The birds, thinking someone was out there, stayed away. With this automatic bird chasing system, Ethan could lie comfortably on his hammock while still doing his job. His father worried. What would happen if Ethan got sick? But as long as Ethan's methods worked, his parents reluctantly let him be. Then came a long drought. The rain stopped, the sun scorched the land, and the irrigation canals ran dry. The rice plants began to wither. Around that time, Ethan's father fell seriously ill, unable to work. The responsibility for the farm now rested entirely on Ethan's shoulders. For the first time, Ethan had to plant, water, weed, chase snails, and tend the livestock, all by himself. He tried, but his body wasn't used to the labor. Within weeks, the crops began to die. Watching the golden stalks fade, he sighed, "Why didn't I ever work harder? Why did I always wait for things to happen instead of making them happen?" That night, under the stars, he sat in silence. The breeze was gentle, but his thoughts were heavy. If he kept being lazy, what future awaited his family? He realized it wasn't others judging him anymore, it was himself. The next morning, he heard a commotion in the village square. A royal guard announced a kingdom-wide contest. The winner would receive a chest of gold, enough to save Ethan's family from hardship. Ignoring the laughter around him, Ethan stepped forward and signed up. When he told his parents, he said firmly, "I'll go. If I win, I'll save our home." His parents worried. His friends mocked him. "You? The lazy one? Compete?" But Ethan didn't care. He packed quietly, some dry food, a raincoat, a knife, some rope, and left. After 3 days crossing hills and forests, Ethan reached the royal grounds. The first challenge took place by a vast lake. Contestants were told to cross it. Whoever reached the far side first would advance. When the horn blew, strong men dove into the water, swimming with all their might. Ethan stood still. If he swam, he'd tire and sink. If he didn't move, he'd lose. Then an idea sparked. "It's a lake crossing contest," he thought. "No one said you had to swim." He ran into the nearby woods, gathered fallen branches, and tied them together with his rope, creating a small raft. Using a plank as a paddle, he began to float across slowly but steadily. While others grew exhausted in the cold water, Ethan glided forward on his raft. Eventually, he reached the other side, third place, enough to qualify for the next round. The crowd was stunned. The lazy boy had outsmarted the strong. The final round took place on a flat plain, a 1-kilometer race. Each contestant was given a huge wooden block and allowed to choose one tool to help move it. The first chose a rope, trying to drag it. The second used a lever to push. Ethan stood still, thinking. He couldn't win with brute strength. He needed something smarter. Finally, he chose a knife. The crowd burst into laughter. Ethan ignored them. He began carving. Carefully, he shaved off the edges, perhaps smoothing the block little by little. After an hour, the heavy cube had become a round wooden ball. While the others struggled to pull their blocks, Ethan gave his sphere a small push, and it rolled easily. With each gentle shove, it gained speed. Ethan overtook one, then another, until he crossed the finish line first. The crowd fell silent for a moment, then erupted in cheers. The laziest man in the village had become the cleverest champion. When Ethan lifted the chest of gold, people shouted his name. But what he truly gained wasn't just the gold, it was the victory over himself. The lessons from Ethan's story. Laziness, stupidity. Being lazy doesn't mean you're incapable. It means you haven't found a reason strong enough to act. A powerful why creates drive. For family, for dreams, for pride. Any strong why can turn hesitation into motion. Creativity strength. Intelligence can turn struggle into opportunity, like carving the cube into a sphere. You don't always need more force, just better thinking. And if you're learning English, take note. You can pick up new vocabulary and sentence structures from this story. Learning language through emotion and storytelling makes it both fun and meaningful. When you see Ethan transform from the laziest boy to a hero, ask yourself, if I had a strong enough reason, could I change too? The answer is yes, if you find your why and take action. If you ever feel lazy, ask yourself, what's the most important reason for me to try? Set a goal so strong it pulls you forward. Remember, small steps, big ideas, daily action. That's how ordinary people become extraordinary. And if you're learning English, listen to the new words from the story, make your own sentences with them, and combine learning with inspiration. You'll improve without even realizing it. Thank you for joining Ethan's journey, the laziest boy who became a legend. If you liked this story, don't forget to share, like, and follow for more inspiring lessons and tales.